한국에 오면 먹어야죠. 먹어도 끝이 없는 나라. 감당할 수 있겠니? 웰컴. (24시간) 불이 꺼지지 않는 나라. 감당할 수 있겠니?
Coming up on Arirang News. Amidst sweltering heat, President Yoon promises his support for a safe and successful World Scout Jamboree, the world's largest youth camp, kicking off at Korea's Saemangeum in the southwestern Jeollabuk-do province. South Korea raised its heat warning level to the highest, with parts of the country baked in temperatures of around 38 degrees Celsius. South Korea's consumer inflation in July grew at its slowest pace in more than 2 years, driven by lower fuel prices, but is projected to rebound. Good evening. Thank you for joining us on Arirang News. We start with the kickoff of the world's largest youth camp here in South Korea. President Yoon pledged his support for a safe and successful World Scout Jamboree in the southwestern Jeollabuk-do province. Attending the opening ceremony on Wednesday, Yoon delivered congratulatory remarks addressing the some 43,000 participants from 158 countries gathered at Saemangeum, a reclaimed area with the world's largest seawall. As authorities raised the country's heatwave warning to its highest level on Tuesday, Yoon asked government bodies to ensure public safety throughout the 12-day event with a thorough inspection of facilities and execution of health and safety measures. Earlier in the day, Yoon attended the signing of a public-private investment deal to build a rechargeable battery manufacturing facility in the vicinity worth 1.8 trillion won or $1.4 billion. The Saemangeum area is being promoted by the government as a high-tech industrial complex, offering various tax benefits and subsidies for investors. Under the theme, Draw Your Dream, the World Scout Jamboree kicks off, bringing together thousands of young people from around the globe to promote cultural exchanges. Choi Soo-young is there and files this report.
The World Scout Jamboree, the biggest camping festival for young people, began on Tuesday at Saemangeum, Buan-gun County in South Korea's Jeollabuk-do province. Around 43,000 young people from 158 countries will come together, fostering friendships that bridge racial, religious, and cultural divides. This event returns to Korea after 32 years after the country hosted the 1991 edition in Gangwon-do province. But after 6 years of preparation, the venue finally opened with great anticipation.
The World Scout Federation highly praised the successful hosting of the 25th World Jamboree as planned. Additionally, this Saemangeum World Jamboree offers a variety of exciting and memorable programs for young people so that they will cherish their time in South Korea.
Participants from around the world arrived on Tuesday before the official program activities started on Wednesday. They spent the day preparing, including handling the registration process and setting up their tents from morning till late evening. Scouts worldwide are greeted at this welcome center and then move to their assigned accommodation after registration. Despite the long journey to Korea and the scorching heat that left many exhausted, the excitement and joy of meeting new friends, not to mention the anticipation of the 12-day event, were clear to see.
Well, I mostly expect to meet new people, meet internationally new people, get a new network.
Get a lot of new friends from all around the world and experience lots of new stuff here.
Due to Korea's intense summer monsoon flooding the Saemangeum reclamation site until just before the opening, the Scouts managed to create their accommodation by laying plastic pallets and pitching their tents on top. However, despite the extreme weather conditions, the Scouts cherished their camping experience and found joy in preparing for the upcoming programs. The World Scout Federation highlighted how Scout activities help young people overcome difficulties, develop social skills, and be physically healthy. Despite post-pandemic challenges, the Scouts' enthusiasm for the Jamboree in Korea remains undiminished. 최수형, Arirang News, Saemangeum.
Now to the relentless heat wave that's been gripping the country for days now. Daytime high temperatures today surpassed 35 degrees Celsius in many parts of the country. Our Song Yujin reports.
The deadly summer heat this year has taken the lives of at least 16 people. That's according to the Korea Disease Control and Prevention Agency as of 4 p.m. Wednesday. This is almost 3 times what was reported last year. With this intense, prolonged heat wave, the Interior Ministry raised the heat crisis level to the highest severe from the second highest alert on Tuesday evening for the first time in 4 years. This level is issued when the feels-like temperature is forecast to reach 35 degrees Celsius or above for 3 or more days in over 40% of the country's weather report districts, or when the temperature is expected to hit 38 degrees Celsius or above in 10% of the weather districts. Daytime high temperatures on Wednesday surpassed 35 degrees Celsius in many parts of the country.
So as we move into the evening, the temperature has cooled down a bit. But it's still 32 degrees Celsius here, and it looks like we're heading for a tropical night.
Earlier in the day, the mercury soared to almost 39 degrees Celsius in Yeoju City of Gyeonggi-do Province and 38 degrees in the east coast city of Gangneung. And so people are doing their best to find relief from the heat, seeking out shade like here at Cheonggyecheon Stream in central Seoul.
I feel like the weather is even hotter than yesterday. Dipping my toes in the cool water feels good.
And in Spain now is the same here, very, very hot, extreme.
In response, the Central Disaster and Safety Countermeasures Headquarters has ordered relevant government ministries and local governments to strengthen real-time monitoring and come up with measures for people who are most vulnerable to the heat, such as the elderly, construction workers, and farmers. People should refrain from going outside during the hottest time of the day between noon and 5 p.m. Drink plenty of water, and if you experience symptoms like dizziness, nausea, or headaches, which are common signs of heat-related illness, reach out for help immediately or visit a doctor. Song Yujin, Arirang News.
South Korea's electricity demand is anticipated to reach its peak next week amid the scorching heat wave. According to the Industry Ministry on Wednesday, the electricity demand estimate will go up to its highest of 97.8 gigawatts on August 10th. The government explains that it'll be able to cover the supply regardless of the lowered energy potential caused by the recent shutdown and operation delay of some power plants in the country. But the nation is keeping an eye on the situation as there are still concerns about electricity supply capacities after the Unit 2 reactor at the Hanbit nuclear power plant suddenly stopped operating since last week and the Typhoon Kanoon approaching from the south. With unprecedented heat waves this summer, electricity bills have risen significantly. But people are responding positively to KEPCO's power-saving cashback projects. Jung Eun-ju has the details.
The owner of a dried fish store in Daegu's Seomun Market has covered the entrance of his store with thick vinyl to prevent cool air from the air conditioner flowing out and installed air curtains in the freezer. In this way, the owner saves 800 kilowatts of electricity per month and lowered his electricity bill by 130,000 won. The Korea Electric Power Corporation is conducting a shopping district power-saving cashback project offering discounts on electricity bills based on the amount of electricity saved. Through the project, the shop owner also received a 15,901 discount on his monthly electricity bill.
Electricity bills are usually the highest in the summer, and the rate increases this year have further deepened merchants' concerns.
This project was introduced in Daegu for the first time in South Korea, and a total of 2,700 stores are participating and are even planning ways to save power by checking electricity use in real time through mobile apps.
Merchants actively participate by checking real-time savings, power-saving tips, and power-saving incentives.
Apartment complexes have a similar system. Residents can save up to 1 kilowatt per day by unplugging unused appliances and turning off lights. They may also reduce their electricity bills by more than 10% through the power-saving Cashback project.
I doubted how much would be saved by doing this myself, but started turning off the lights and unplugging unused appliances, and thanks to that, I have started to see benefits.
KEPCO is preparing to expand the power-saving Cashback project to encourage people into voluntary energy-saving plans. 정은주, Arirang News.
The number of new COVID cases in South Korea is currently at 60% of last year's winter peak. As infections are on the rise, authorities are carefully looking at when to further lower the infectious disease level of COVID-19. The lowering would mean a complete lifting of the mask mandate, even for medical facilities. Shin Se-byuk has the details.
The Korea Disease Control and Prevention Agency says the timeline for lowering the infectious disease level of COVID-19 will be handled with more care. According to the head of the KDCA, Chi-young-mi, on Wednesday, the number of new infections is at 60% of last winter's peak. She also mentioned that by mid-August, the daily average of new cases could reach 60,000, with a peak of up to 76,000. In fact, South Korea has seen a rise in new COVID-19 cases for the 5th consecutive week. Last week alone, over 310,000 people tested positive for the virus. That's up nearly 24% compared to the week before. The same official said that a decision on when to lower the disease level will be made after considering various factors, such as COVID-19 trends both at home and abroad, and the advice of experts. The health authority plans to lower the infectious disease level of COVID-19 to Class 4, the lowest level in the 4-tier classification system, as early as this month. With this adjustment, the remaining mask mandate at general hospitals and other high-risk facilities will be lifted. Also, the government will stop monitoring people who have contracted COVID-19. Regarding the complete lifting of the mask mandate, the commissioner stated that specific guidelines will be announced next week after reviewing the risk that the adjustment could pose to high-risk groups. While the KDCA says it is unlikely for COVID-19 to pose a significant threat again, it expects that there could be 1 or 2 surges a year for the time being. It also advises people to wear masks in high-risk places and to quarantine for 5 days if they test positive. Shin Se-byuk, Arirang News.
South Korea's consumer inflation in July grew at its slowest pace in more than 2 years, driven by lower fuel prices, but is projected to rebound. Moon Hae-ryun explains.
Consumer prices in South Korea continue to slow in July despite rising vegetable prices following the heavy rain and flooding. Data from Statistics Korea show that the Consumer Price Index, a key gauge of inflation, rose by 2.3% compared to the same month last year. This is the lowest figure seen in over 2 years and marks the 6th month in a row that the on-year rise has fallen.
The key factor behind slowing inflation is a drop in oil prices, which have dropped on year at the largest rate since data was first compiled in 1985.
But given a resurgence in oil prices amid rising summer demand and tightening global supply, this effect may wear off soon, on top of more expensive vegetables. Compared to the previous month, vegetable prices jumped by over 7%. This is largely due to price increases for vegetable crops affected by the heavy rainfall that hit the country last month. According to the Korea Agro-Fisheries and Food Trade Corporation, the prices of lettuce and spinach more than doubled within the space of a month. The price of cucumbers also rose by 17% and spring onions by over 23%. With these vegetables among the 144 products measured in the Consumer Price Index for daily necessities, the related index rose by 1.6% on year. And the extreme heat which has gripped the country for the past week or so could continue to affect consumer prices. Owing to the volatility of food prices, Statistics Korea takes an average between 3 values taken throughout the month. As a result, the effects of weather conditions such as rainfall or a heat wave is not greatly reflected in the Consumer Price Index.
While the effects of the monsoon were partially reflected in July's data and may continue to affect the index in August, vegetation also has a short growth period, so it's difficult for us to predict what will happen in August.
Core inflation, as measured by the OECD excluding volatile categories such as food and energy, was up by 3.3% in July, the lowest growth since April last year. 문혜련, Arirang News.
Fitch Ratings has lowered its credit rating for the U.S., citing deepening debt and political polarization. The White House says it strongly disagrees with the decision. Yoon tells us more.
Fitch Ratings, one of the 3 major independent agencies that assess creditworthiness, on Tuesday downgraded the U.S.'s long-term foreign currency issuer default rating from the top rating of AAA to AA+. The agency stated that the downgrade reflects expected fiscal deterioration over the next 3 years, a high and growing general government debt burden, and the erosion of governance. Fitch said it had noted a steady deterioration in governance over the last 20 years, flagging the possibility of a downgrade and placing the country's rating on negative watch on May 24th, at the time citing political brinksmanship over the debt ceiling. In June, the government succeeded in lifting the debt ceiling to $31.4 trillion, but only after a drawn-out political battle which threatened to push the country into default. The risk, along with the 2021 January 6th insurrection, were major contributing factors to the agency's latest downgrade. Fitch also noted that a combination of tightening credit conditions, weakening business investment, and a slowdown in consumption could lead the economy into a mild recession in the fourth quarter of 2023 and first quarter of next year. Meanwhile, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen disagreed with Fitch's downgrade, saying in a statement that the change was arbitrary and based on outdated data. She added that the Treasury Secretaries remain the world's preeminent safe and liquid asset, and the American economy is fundamentally strong. The White House had a similar view, saying it strongly disagreed with the decision. The first and only other time that the U.S. has faced the credit rating downgrade was in 2011, when S&P lowered its rating from the outstanding AAA to an excellent AA+. It was following a similar debt ceiling crisis that resulted in protracted negotiations. Yoon, Arirang News.
For the past few weeks, a special Korean task force has been in Canada, joining a global battle against the country's worst wildfires on record. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau thanked them for their solidarity as the team now returns home. Baeunji reports.
Around 150 South Korean firefighters have been battling fires in Canada, which has been hit by its deadliest wildfire season on record. The Korean team sent there in early July helped put out wildfires in northern Quebec, one of the worst hit regions, working daily 12-hour shifts before heading back home on Wednesday. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau posted a video on social media of him seeing off the Korean team from Ottawa as they set off for Korea, saying that he thanked them for their heroic work on behalf of all Canadians. He expressed gratitude for their work, for being away from their families for these past weeks, and for coming over to the other side of the world. He also thanked them in Korean.
We will never forget it. Thank you for being here. Have a good flight home. And again, 감사합니다.
In less than 12 hours, the video earned more than 600,000 views. In response, President Yoon wrote on Twitter that he greatly appreciated the Canadian Prime Minister's surprise visit to the airport and added that through the joint operations of the two countries' firefighters, South Korea and Canada have reached another milestone in their long-standing friendship. This also comes as South Korea and Canada celebrate the 60th anniversary this year of their establishment of diplomatic ties. Baeunji, Arirang News.
South Korea's new Unification Minister Kim Young-ho will on Thursday hold talks with civic groups dedicated to abductees and prisoners of war detained in North Korea. This is going to be Kim's first official move as a minister, while he'll also be meeting families of some of the detainees. The talks will help show the minister's commitment to resolving long-pending issues over South Koreans who have been detained in the north following the minister's recent announcement to establish a task force in charge of the issue. Kim, in his inaugural speech, had also pledged to find out ways to address the human rights abuses of South Korean abductees in the north. For the first time in Korea, a drone delivery service has been launched in an urban area. Now, visitors of the water parks in Seongnam City, Gyeonggi-do Province can order various items using the service. Shin Ha-young takes a closer look at what this drone service means for the future.
Drone delivery services have previously been trialed in remote mountainous areas. But now they're a step closer to being commercialized in densely populated urban areas. Starting from August, Seongnam City in Gyeonggi-do Province has become the first urban area in South Korea to launch paid drone delivery services. From August, it started the service at 2 water parks along the Tancheon Stream.
The area around Tancheon Stream is full of pedestrians and people playing or having picnics, so delivering food by motorcycle could be dangerous here. However, drones can fly along a safe path over the river, providing fast and safe services.
When a customer places an order, a drone delivers the items from a delivery hub 1.7 kilometers away and completes the delivery within 5 minutes. Various items can be delivered, ranging from fried chicken and beverages to water play equipment.
I don't find the drone delivery fee too expensive because the cost of other general deliveries is similar to, or even higher than this. It's surprisingly fast and I use the service frequently.
There are many regulations related to drones, such as altitude restrictions, making it difficult to introduce drone delivery services in urban areas. Through this paid service, the drone company and the city is aiming to overcome these challenges.
We're in the process of proving the safety of the drones through thousands of trials. This will allow us to deliver to areas including crowded cities. We're working with the Transport Ministry to improve public perception through paid services.
The service is a part of the Transport Ministry's efforts to establish a standardized model for drone delivery in accordance with the country's economic development blueprint called the New Growth 4.0 strategy.
Starting September, we will expand the drone delivery service to multiple locations. Our goal is to give people first-hand experience of cutting-edge technologies. We expect that it will make a significant contribution to the development of flying drone taxi services.
The Ministry of Land, Infrastructure and Transport is planning to commercialize drone delivery service by 2027, while doubling the size of the country's drone market to 1 trillion Korean won, or over $770 million by 2025 from 2020. Shin Ha-young, Arirang News.
Blistering heat continues to bake the nation. Highs will be in the similar range tomorrow for most regions. Seoul will be peaking at 35 degrees Celsius, while other regions such as Gangneung will be extremely hot at 37. Under such dangerously hot temperatures, heat-related illnesses such as dehydration and fatigue can occur. Take plenty of breaks and stay hydrated. As for the weather conditions in Puan-gun County, where the World Scout Jamboree is being held, hot spells will continue. Highs will be reaching 35 degrees with a chance of stray showers. And the sixth typhoon of the season, Typhoon Khanun, is making its move. For now, it is forecast to move towards the east by the latter half of the week, closer to South Korea. Tomorrow, Seoul and Gwangju will be starting off at 26 degrees. Highs in Seoul will get up to 35, Gwangju 36, Gyeongju will be topping out at 37 degrees. Until next week, tropical nights with lows of over 25 degrees will prevail. It's all for now, and here are the weather conditions around the world.
That is all for this Wednesday night newscast. Thank you for watching. We'll be back tomorrow with the latest news. Good night.
Lotte takes a new leap beyond its boundaries. Our change will lead to better lives for all. New Lotte, the power of a better world.